So here is something worth considering, something worth contemplating. How often did the thing that you worry about or the thing that you feared, how often did that specific thing actually occur? How often did that actually happen? Because you see, 99% of the time, because there are always exceptions, but 99% of the time, the things you worry about, the things you fear may happen, actually never happen. That's why worry and fear are such a waste of energy and inner resources, because they never happen. You obsess over something that you fear might happen somehow, and then it never happens. The things that actually do happen, you have no idea about them. They just happen out of nowhere. That's why you can never predict the future. The future is not something you can control, because the way your life unfolds depends on what your destiny is. And if you've been following this channel for a while, then you know this. So instead of worrying and fearing what might happen, something bad that will actually never happen, why not just completely let go? Yeah, I know why. Because fear and worry, again, it's these two that stop us from fully letting go and trusting life. Because essentially, uh, you can trust life 100%. You can trust life, because life is intelligence itself, and life takes care of life. You are life, so life is taking care of life. So you can let go. And letting go, usually, for most people, is a process. It doesn't happen in a sudden moment, in one instant. It's a process that you let go a little by little until you actually find yourself living in that constant flow state. And the way you get in that flow state is by letting go. Because you see, if you're concerned with what life will bring to you, how your life will unfold, you cannot really be spontaneous. You cannot really flow, because essentially you're trying to control the unfolding instead of trusting it, surrendering to it, and moving with it. And that's the essence of all the videos that I've made here on this channel, is that we have to find a way to trust life more deeply. Because again, everything you've ever worried about, everything you've ever feared, actually 99% of the time never happens. Well, what about this 1%? You can't control that anyway. If something is meant to happen, it will happen, regardless of how much you try to stop it, how much you try to worry about it and to manage it, to control circumstances so that this thing doesn't occur. But that's basically pointless. You're losing your energy over something you can't predict, over something you have zero control over. What do you have control over? Basically, on the deepest level, nothing. You come here in this life to experience what it feels like to be human, to gain that experience, and that's about it. Yes, when we talk on a practical level, there is an evolution happening. You're going higher and higher in the scale of consciousness. That is the play of the game. But essentially, you're here just to experience everything. And people say that you, as the soul, can choose what life experiences you want to have during this lifetime. Now, I feel some truth to that, but I cannot really tell you what to believe in, which theories to believe in. All I know is that you're here and you can't go anywhere else. So, regardless of what theories you have about reincarnation, about the soul, and so on, what's actually real is this moment right here. Is you watching this video on your phone or on the TV, whatever you're watching it. Then you stop watching the video, you get up, you do something. That's all that's really real in this game of life. Everything else is subjective to theory because we don't really remember why we incarnated on this planet, why we chose to play this specific character that we're playing. So, yeah, learning about different beliefs and viewpoints on what life is, on reincarnation, that may provide you some sense of clarity and purpose and meaning. That is true. But don't get stuck in these things. Like, focus on what's here. Focus on what's here right now and just fully let go. Fully let go and trust that life is taking care of life. And life is not, it is a mystical force, we could call it, but it's what you are. You have life within you. You are life. You being able to watch this video and listen to it, that's life. Life allows you to be able to do that. So life is within you. You are essentially life. Not only essentially, everything about you is life. There is no thing that has no life within it. Even objects, they still have energetic vibration, which is still life. So there is nothing outside of life. Even when they speak about the void, about the nothingness from which everything comes, there is still life there. It's not empty. It's nothing, but it's not dead. It's living. It's living nothingness. Because if it wasn't living, then it couldn't produce everything we have in this life. So, deeper understanding of these topics will give you trust, will make you trust the intelligence of life more, which is essentially what you want to do. You want to find a way to trust life. This could be done either through having a deeper understanding about life, resonating with certain belief systems about life, whatever provides you meaning. There is nothing wrong with believing in a theory. If that allows you to trust life, that's good. That's why the great intelligence has created many different viewpoints and belief systems and traditions and practices, because you cannot apply one theory or one practice to every single human being, because our expression is different. In essence, yes, we are the same, but our expression is different, our character is different, our personalities are different. What this means is that what resonates with me may not necessarily resonate with you, and that's perfectly fine. This doesn't make one thing or the other somehow false. That's why you cannot say, like, for example, Christianity is false and Buddhism is true, or the other way around. These are all paths. These are all different paths leading to the same thing. That's why all religions, all spiritual beliefs, they all lead you on the same path, which is back to yourself. Now, be careful with religions because there is a lot of dogma there. And even reading spiritual texts, you need to be able to extract what the person who has written this book is trying to say rather than the dogma within it. That's true for every book, for every video you watch. There is always some dogma in, not in everything, but in most things, we could say. So just because a certain viewpoint of life resonates with you doesn't mean that the other viewpoint is not real, doesn't mean it's not true. Because we think in terms of white and black. This is true, this must be false, which that's not how reality works. It's way more complex than that. This can be true in these specific situations, while in other situations it may not be true. So it's not a universal truth. There are also universal truths that are always true, but we cannot really wrap our head around these things. So life is one big mystery. And the more you try to understand it, you understand more and deeper, but then you see how much you actually still don't understand because it's infinite. The source from which everything comes is infinite in its nature. So you cannot know the infinite. How are you going to know something that's infinite? You can't know that. It's infinite. You cannot know it. So you cannot grasp it. You cannot hold it in your mind, and because the mind is basically a limitation, and a limited thing cannot hold an infinite thing. So you may be able to understand some things about life intuitively, but I don't think it's possible that you actually understand everything because, again, infinity. So we are in this game of life, and the best we can do is just let go, trust, surrender. If you don't like surrender to God or to the universe, just surrender to the flow of life. Trust that in whatever the direction life is moving you, trust that 100%. Don't fight it, cooperate with it. And this is something we hear very often from people like Alan Watts and other people, philosophers, spiritual teachers, who have had these teachings for centuries. And it's still something we really struggle with. It's still something that the majority of this planet, the majority of people on this planet are not really aware of, or if they're aware of, to some extent, it's just an abstract idea they have. But there are also people who have no idea about spirituality, who have never heard anything about flow, about God, the universe, but they're deeply connected to reality. And they appreciate that and fully trust that. These could be some simple village people who have never heard about these topics, but they have that trust within them. Why? Because they have wisdom. They have enough wisdom to see that, wait, it doesn't matter what I do in this life, whatever wants to happen happens anyway, and there is nothing I can do about it. So I just let go and just move with it. And that's something that for these simple people, it happens subconsciously. It may not be something they're aware of. but it just happens subconsciously. So that's how it really happens. You let go by actually seeing for yourself, not just hearing it on a video like this one, but actually seeing for yourself that life does whatever it wants to do with you, with everyone. And there is nothing you can do about it. So why not move with it? Why not enjoy the ride? It gets scary sometimes, it gets painful sometimes, but it also feels nice sometimes, and you have good moments too. So it's not only one-sided. This is why they say the richness of life, because life is rich of experiences, and one life is not enough to experience everything. So you are going to experience whatever you need to experience, and you can trust that. So don't worry, don't fear. These things, they are just illusions of the mind. It's a trick that the mind plays on you to worry about something because you believe you can control it somehow, you can avoid it somehow. By worrying just enough, you can avoid something. That's not how this thing works. Or if you fear long enough and deep enough, yeah, this thing might not happen. That's not true. Whatever happens will happen. And most of the time, you will not know before it actually happens. Everything that happens, how often did you know that it was going to happen? Very few moments in your life you can actually predict the future. For 99% of the time, it's completely unpredictable, and there is nothing you can do about it because you cannot predict it. If you were able to predict it, then you might be able to do something about it. Not really, but on a practical level, that's it. So you can't really predict what's going to happen. So why worry about it? Why fear? Why not let yourself go on this river, flowing river of life, and just enjoy the ride? Do your best to enjoy the ride. Do what makes you happy, so to say. Do what makes you fulfilled and satisfied. And if nothing gives you that, then go on the inner journey and find satisfaction there, because that is the ultimate satisfaction and happiness. It's within you. Nothing out in this world can give you the same level of inner contentment that your own being can give you that. And don't make this into something mystical. Just when you sit there by yourself with no distractions, there is your being there. That is what you want to put your attention onto. That is God in you. That is the spark of the divine in you. It's your own being. So, and that's not something you can do 100% of the time, because you have things to do in life. You need to work, you need to go some places, clean the house, whatever, make music, whatever you're into, you're doing things. So you cannot really put all of the time your attention on your being, but just make some time to do that too. It's life is not only about doing, which is something we've been conditioned to believe in. Life is not only about being productive. While being productive has its place in time, doing has its place in time, non-doing is also as important as doing. And what's most important is being able to sense when do you actually need to do something and when do you actually need to not do anything and just relax. We have forgotten how to relax because of this fast moving world that we live in. So non-doing is as important as doing. So find time for both. Do and don't do. Find the rhythm. It's not a perfect balance, It's not I do for 3 hours and then 3 hours and I don't do nothing. You be able to sense when it's time to just stop doing things. You will feel like you're getting, like your energy levels are being drained because you keep doing things. So when you feel your energy is being drained, stop and relax, do nothing. And then when you feel it's kind of, you become very restless, like not immediately, because if you stop doing things and you are restless, it means you don't know how to not do. But there is also another part to it, which is when you stop doing things, you become quiet automatically. You enjoy not doing, and then you start feeling an urge. It's not a restlessness, it's an urge to do something. So then you move with it. You don't fight anything, you move with everything. That is a much peaceful experience, much peaceful existence in this life. So don't fight life, don't worry, don't fear, because these two are actually illusions that are not real. They're just in your mind. The mind is playing tricks on you. Don't buy into that. That's another thing about the mind. You don't stop thoughts. You cannot do that. Thoughts pop up, they move all the time. You can't stop thinking. If you've tried it, you know you cannot make yourself stop thinking. Even in meditation, if you have some moments of no thoughts, that's cool, but it's not like it remains forever. Thoughts come back, so you cannot stop the thinking mind. But what you can do is stop believing it, stop listening to it so much, stop being in your head so much, and actually be here in the present moment and move with that. But because the present moment gives you something, shows you something, presents you something that you may not necessarily like, you start resisting it and you get inside your head. And that's, then you stay there. You forget you're inside your head, living there. So you want to get outside of your head and be in the present moment. And the only way you can sustain that long term is that you actually stop resisting whatever happens to you and actually accept everything and move with it and just flow. That's essentially it. That's how you get out of your own mind. It's by being here and not resisting anything. If you resist, you go back to your mind and it will keep you in a loop. So you don't want that. You want to be here right now. Not that thinking has not its place in time. Thinking can be very useful in some endeavors. You may need to think about some things, like contemplate or strategize or plan something. That's useful. But where it becomes draining is that once, let's say, there is a need for you to think about something consciously. So you think about it, you contemplate it, you think about it, but then the time for thinking ends. So there is no more thinking required. You don't have to think anymore about it, but you cannot stop thinking about it. That's where the so-called issue is. You cannot put the mind down. Use the mind as a tool if you need to do something, if you need to plan something, but then once it's no longer needed, just don't listen to it and do your thing. So yeah, that's it for today. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.